Good afternoon. It's a beautiful, mainly sunny day in the Okanagan. It's 14 degrees shortly after 4 p.m. I'm Josh Duncan, and this is what the KelownaNow newsroom is following today. Permits could soon be issued as soon as next week for a 130-unit rental apartment building at the corner of Gordon Drive and Lawson Avenue. Council will be asked to approve the permits on Monday for the building that would contain 13 bachelor suites, 81 bedroom units, 31 two-bedroom units, and 6 three-bedroom units. The building would be 6 stories along Gordon, but step down to 5 stories along Lawson and Aspen Court. City staff recommended support of the project because it meets a majority of official community plan design guidelines and no variances are required. It's going to be an important residential building in a vital transit location. As the province continues to be gripped in a lengthy drought, it could begin to affect Kelowna residents as soon as next week. Although it's still only April, it's possible the Kelowna Council will approve a city staff recommendation to implement Stage 1 water restrictions. The recommendation is a precautionary move to allow for a sustainable supply of water for all customers during what is expected to be another dry summer. Another recommendation is that Council will consider a declaration that agricultural customers of the city's water utility would have their water services shut off if they exceed their annual allotment this summer. The Independent Investigation Office of BC says no charges can be laid against a Kelowna cop who abandoned a wellness check because the subject had already died. The IIO report explained that the cop gave up on checking in on a seriously ill man after just 2 minutes because he couldn't find a way into the man's apartment building. It turns out the man had died the night before, which means the officer's actions can't be deemed as a factor into the man's death, but it didn't stop IIO Director Ronald McDonald from using some stern words in his report. He said the officer failed to comply with his sworn duty to protect life and likely crossed the threshold of criminal negligence. He suggested there might be some discipline handed down later date by the RCMP. It's less than 2 weeks until BC's new and controversial short-term rental regulations go into effect, and today the province unveiled more details on possible punishments for those who don't comply. They include penalties of $500 to $5,000 a day per infraction, and that can get to as high as $10,000 for corporations. Premier David Eby said today the goal remains to free up the loss of thousands of long-term rental homes in the midst of a housing crisis. Airbnb, on the other hand, once again pointed to the economic benefits of short-term rentals. The company said it generated more than $2.5 billion in economic impact across BC last year, and that supported more than 25,000 jobs. It looks like Penticton Ribfest has new life following an announcement in January that the festival would end its operations. The popular food event has been reborn as what is tabbed as a late summer 3-day waterfront party known as Summer Camp Rib and Music Festival. It will feature ribs still, but there will also include a bunch of live music, plenty of games and activities, and a fair share of alcoholic beverages to be enjoyed in hopefully the sun. The event will be run by Billy Jo Asson, who is a Penticton native but now lives in Vancouver, and her business, The Festival Company, will be in charge of the festivities. The event will be entry by donation. And finally, wrapping up in sports, the Colona Rockets season, it's not over yet. The Rockets prevailed in a must-win Game 4 at Prospera Place on Wednesday night, edging the Prince George Cougars 2-1. Gabriel Stutz and Max Graham scored for Kelowna, while Jari Kikkonen stopped 26 saves in the victory. The two teams now depart for Northern BC. They will play Game 5 at the CN Centre in Prince George on Friday night. If the Rockets win, they'll get to host Game 6 on Sunday, but if they lose, their season officially over. You can read more about those stories and plenty others over at KelownaNow.com. Thanks as always for tuning in to our live news update this afternoon, and have yourself a wonderful evening.